Hello everybody, welcome to Snyder's Inc. And today we have got more 5 clips before horror part 10. My throat's kinda so I hope you'll forgive me if my thing's not the greatest. But we're continuing thing here. We got Turbine Terror, 5 clips before horror part 10. We don't get right into it. Ladies and gentlemen, the like button, subscribe button, comments thing down below. Let's go.
It's kind of crazy that nowadays anyone can pull a decent video camera out of their pocket and they can record something. We all love filming the good times, but every now and then, cameras catch things that are just truly horrifying. I'm Ryan from Tragedy Tales, and in this 10th episode of the series, and for my 300,000 subscriber special, yet again I've dug deep. I've scoured the deepest, darkest corners of the internet for this time, not 5, but 10 clips captured right before.
Oh, we got 10. Oh, we got a special. We gonna be eating the night, boss.
Before horror. From a terrifying freak landslide in China, to a truly shocking ice hockey incident in the UK, to the man that did the unthinkable. This week we've got clips from all across the world that will leave you in shock. So, as usual, grab yourself a nice hot drink, sit down and draw the curtains. Let's get right into it. This terrifying entry begins on New Year's Day 2024 in Utah, United States, or more specifically at the Salt Lake City International Airport. That bitter January day, a 30-year-old man named Kyler Effinger had booked a flight from Utah to Denver, Colorado. Kyler had worked at the front desk of a Holiday Inn Express, and he was described by a coworker as helpful, kind, and honest. He absolutely loved his golden retriever, Quicksilver, that he got as a puppy as a service dog. However, Kyler did suffer from what looked like a pretty bad case of bipolar disorder. By looking at his Instagram, over the years, not only did he post quite a few photos of his beautiful service dog, Quicksilver, showing his friends the growth from a puppy to a full-grown hound, but he also posted quite a few times documenting his fight with bipolar. One post in particular in 2023, Kyler announced that it had been 2 years since his last manic episode. He said, "I'm thankful for my doctors, therapists, medication, psych techs, social workers, nurses, family and friends, and especially my pup, Quicksilver, for keeping me level through this." Sadly, however, in July of 2023, Kyler announced on his Instagram that he had to say goodbye to his beloved dog. He said that she was the embodiment of a service animal and that she would be missed dearly. So, Kyler had a history of mental health conditions, but it seemed at the time he was getting better. But in the summer of 2023, Kyler lost his dog, and then in late 2023, he received news that his grandfather was gravely ill. In a desperate attempt to see his grandfather before he passed away, Kyler booked a last-minute plane ticket, and at around 9 PM on January the 1st, 2024, Kyler arrived at the Salt Lake City's International Airport for his flight from Utah to Denver, Colorado. Nothing was out of the ordinary. He queued up with his suitcase and made his way through security. Despite arriving at the airport with plenty of time to spare, once Kyler got to security, he was held up for an extended period of time, and sadly, this caused him to miss his flight. When Kyler begged to get onto the flight,
I think it is so screwed up. If for no reason you are held up to the point you miss your flight. Like, to me, that's insane. Like, to be held up for such a degree that you miss your flight, and then they don't do anything if it's their fault you missed your flight. You're like, well, what do you want us to do? We'll book you another flight that you can pay us for. So weird.
saying that he needed to see his grandfather, the staff refused. Realizing that he had perhaps missed his last chance to see his dying grandfather, this triggered a manic bipolar episode. In a frantic state, Kyler rang his father, and his father said, and I quote, "Those phone calls, I just knew it was coming on. They call it the manic phase, and those just don't end well for him. And obviously this one was the worst one ever." After being refused entry onto the plane, Kyler went wild. He totally lost it. All captured on CCTV, it showed him running around the empty airport lobby, running towards a locked door at gate A2. He'd taken off his shoes and he was carrying them in his hand. He then attempted to open the door towards the tarmac and towards the plane, but luckily it was locked. After this doesn't work, he can then be seen speaking to a member of staff before running off and attempting to open another locked door at gate A1. He tugs on the door handle furiously before falling to the ground. He then gets back up and pulls on the handle again, before rushing over to the window next to it and banging on it profusely. He then got his shoes and threw them out the window, before running off and trying more doors.
He's having some, this is a manic episode, it's bad. This is a very bad episode, here. Oi.
As seen on CCTV, Kyler can be seen trying the emergency exit. And this time, it works. After opening the door, he slipped past security, down the emergency exit stairs, and straight onto the tarmac. Pictured by a thermal imaging camera that was situated on the runway, you can see Kyler running on the tarmac, barefoot, towards a Delta Airlines plane that was already carrying 100 passengers and was actually boarding for takeoff. What Kyler would do next would shock everyone. At 9:52 p.m, the airport manager reported a disturbance involving a passenger on the secured side of the terminal, requesting police assistance. Police reportedly arrived at the airport at around 10 p.m, but when they got onto the runway, Kyler was nowhere to be seen. All they found was his clothing and his shoes strewn all over. The police continued to scour the scene, and all of a sudden they spotted Kyler on top of one of the airport's de-icing pads. Before they could even stop him, before they could even get to him, Kyler climbed onto the still running wing-mounted engine, and within a blink of an eye, he was sucked inside the whirling blades. Air traffic control instructed the plane to shut down its engines, but by then, the damage was done. Astonishingly, despite the immense forces at play here, police discovered that Kyler was not dead, but unconscious.
What?
Salt Lake City Police Department officers and airport employees tried their best to remove what was left of him through the cowling, which is basically a removable cover of the engine, and here they tried their best to save his life.
Bro, there was no chance you were gonna save the life of that dude after running into an engine of a plane. You never were gonna save his life. There's no chance he lives.
The Salt Lake City Fire Department assisted in several attempts to revive him, but sadly, the efforts proved unsuccessful, and tragically, Kyler was pronounced dead at the scene. He was finally reunited with Quicksilver, his beautiful dog that he loved so much.
I just feel bad for this guy. This is a guy who had dealt with manic episodes. He, is pretty much barely in control of anything. Like, once he started having a manic episode, he's just doing stuff and probably does not even knowledge of what he's doing, really. And then dives into the engine of a plane with the goal to die, I assume?
Although airport operations carried on as normal after the incident, the police said that they worked to secure the area and deplane the passengers.
I'm about to say, goes in the plane that his engine he went in did not take off I'm going to assume.
And soon after, local and federal officials launched a death investigation into the circumstances surrounding Kyler's passing. To me, this was just a deadly domino effect of disasters. Firstly, Kyler had a mental health crisis at the airport, alone, with no one that he knew personally to calm him down. With the stress of his dog dying 6 months previously, and now his granddad being gravely ill, and then missing the flight, it must have just pushed him over the edge. Despite Kyler phoning his dad, even his own father couldn't calm him down. This was a mental health crisis that needed to get under control. Number one, why didn't the airport recognize this and intervene to stop him before any damage was done? Why weren't all the plane engines shut off, knowing that someone had got loose on the runway? And why was he even able to get onto the tarmac with active planes in the first?
So, I will go one thing. Why did they not deal with it? Because security could not care. The airport people could not care about your well-being at all, really. They have a job to do, and that's their main goal, is to do the job. They probably also just didn't care enough or were even aware enough to know that this was a mental health episode. They probably have no idea. When it comes to how he's able to get on there, I have no idea. I don't know. I don't think emergency exits should be able to lead to the runway. Like, emergency exit to me, unless it's like through like staff hallways only, the emergency exit most times should probably just lead outside the building. But maybe I'm just dumb and I think that. Maybe I don't understand how logic works.
Place. I know fire escapes exist for a reason, but why would it lead onto the tarmac? I don't know, there's many questions. It seems that so many safety nets were bypassed that night, and it led to his tragic passing at the young age of 30.
30.
This truly insane footage begins on April the 17th, 2013, in the city of West, Texas. Not to be confused with the general region of West Texas. West is a town in Texas, funnily enough, not even situated in the western part of Texas. It's actually more central or eastern. Regardless, the town is a close-knit community, with each neighbor knowing each other, being home to around 2,500 people. That
Alright, small area in Texas, okay.
fateful evening, at approximately 7:30 p.m, emergency dispatchers received a 911 call telling them that smoke was billowing from a fertilizer and seed stockpile plant.
West Fire, the West Fertilizer
Holy crap, that's a lot of smoke. I'm not even gonna lie, that's a gigantic amount of smoke.
is one of their bills is on fire. There's heavy smoke coming out of the top of it.
The West Fertilizer Company that owned this warehouse was known to stockpile and sell commercial fertilizer to local farmers. The two most notable chemicals were ammonia nitrate and anhydrous ammonia, two extremely reactive chemicals. Very similar chemicals caused the Beirut explosion, which led to an enormous blast. Link above if you're interested in that. However, minutes after the emergency call, the West Fire Department was quickly mobilized to confront the fire. By 7:39 p.m, the first firefighting team had reached the scene, only to find that the warehouse had already been consumed by intense flames and smoke. While the firefighters knew that it was a chemical storage facility, they were totally unaware of the magnitude of danger that was waiting for them.
How bad was this chemical thing done in West Texas? How does West Texas have like the most dangerous like chemical fucking facility?
As more firefighters joined the effort, the blaze only grew larger. The situation
Not the
rapidly
Sonic!
escalated from dire to downright catastrophic. Merely 10 minutes after their arrival, at approximately 7:50 p.m, the warehouse detonated in a massive explosion, all captured on video.
Massive. Oh my
This
god!
unleashed a massive firestorm.
Look, anyone who watches the channel knows I'm a big explosion guy. I like to watch an explosion. I like the visual of explosion. That scared the shit out of me.
that resembled an apocalyptic scene. The entire fertilizer plant went up in flames. This blast could be heard from all across the town.
There's nothing the fire department can do. They just
Look at that fire, this is there.
The enormity of the explosion was so large that it registered as a 2.1 magnitude earthquake, with its shockwaves felt up to 80 miles away. The force was strong.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest. Hold on, get back to the map. No way should a fertilizer plant be this close to stuff. A fertilizer plant should not be close to a nursing home, a hospital, and a middle school. Because stuff like that can happen. That's not a good... It should not be this close to shit.
With its shockwaves felt up to 80 miles away. The force was strong enough to completely obliterate 60 to 80 homes, level a 50-unit apartment building, destroy a nursing home and ambulance station, and even derail a nearby cargo train, completely distorting the tracks beneath it. Residents within a half-a-mile radius experienced shattered windows, while the ground shook with a formidable force. Sadly, this is when emergency calls came through, and one call relayed that they believed a bomb had gone off at the chemical storage facility and that many firefighters had died.
We need every ambulance we can get this way.
I don't know what that was, what caused that explosion, but that is insane. That is some insane shit.
A bomb just went off inside here. It's pretty bad. We got a lot of firemen down.
Upon the arrival of emergency medical services, the fertilizer plant was no longer standing. It was now completely enveloped in fire, and where the plant once stood, now sat a vast crater etched out of the ground, measuring 93 feet in diameter and spanning 10 feet deep, a true testament to the explosion's force. Despite the known presence of hazardous chemicals like ammonium nitrate, the responding firefighters had not been trained to handle such specialized chemical emergencies. The explosion had devastatingly overwhelmed them. The aftermath of the blast was severe and widespread, causing unparalleled destruction in the local community. The blast resulted in the deaths of 12 firefighters at the scene who were risking their lives to save others, with an additional 3 lives lost, culminating in the total death of 15 people. Additionally, the
Unfortunate 15 people had to die from this. Such a tragic freaking explosion that just came out of nowhere for most people in West Texas, I'd assume.
explosion injured 260 individuals,
Oh my
rendered
God.
3 schools beyond repair, and damaged half of the town's 700 homes. The blast was so severe that it cost the town of West approximately $230 million in damages. This prompted questions about the cause of the disaster and the rationale behind building it so close to residential zones.
That was my thought. I was like, why would you build it so close to everything? Like, do you mean that's a chemical thing is something you put far away, way out, not near things, so if something goes wrong, it doesn't affect the residential area.
Despite a thorough investigation that lasted over a month and cost over $1 million, the exact cause of the explosion remains unknown. However, in the investigations, it was discovered that even though the facility was under the oversight of 7 state and federal entities, the actual site had not been inspected for years prior to the incident. Alarmingly, it was found that the warehouse was storing large quantities of highly explosive chemicals, merely separated by small plywood partitions. The facility lacked a pre-incident plan, it had inadequate emergency response measures, and was devoid of any essential fire safety features, like fire-resistant materials, for example, or maybe sprinkler systems. You know, simple stuff. In its 2012 filing with the Environmental Protection Agency, the West Fertilizer Company disclosed that it had around 270 tons of ammonium nitrate on the site.
Holy crap! That's a lot of nitrate. That should not be that amount of nitrate in one spot, no.
A quantity that was deemed 1,350 times greater
Yeah.
than what was deemed safe.
Yeah.
And this ignited, causing an explosion with the power of 15 to 20,000 pounds of dynamite. Federal guidelines mandate that the Department of Homeland Security should be notified if more than 1 ton of ammonium nitrate is stored. A protocol that was not done whatsoever, rendering the entire warehouse a ticking time bomb.
Yeah.
The West Fertilizer Company was fined $118,000 for violating several rules regarding handling hazardous materials. Following the catastrophe, the West Fertilizer Company, who was under the ownership of Adair Grain, faced financial ruin. They had to file for bankruptcy due to only being short for $1 million. On April the 25th, President Obama himself came down to Texas to console the town of West. He hosted a memorial for those lost in a local gymnasium, and almost 10,000 gathered from across Texas to remember the first responders and those lost in the blast. As Obama delivered his speech, the gymnasium was illuminated by the bursts of light from cameras and cell phones. The president's address lasted 16 minutes, during which he cited scripture and praised the courage of the victims, whose coffins lay in front of them, covered with flags. He said, upon arriving at the scene, "Fear was left behind. You guys battled the flames with all of your might, fully aware of the risks involved." This event triggered a wave of lawsuits from the West community.
Absolutely it did. No, and now why the hell, if they didn't sue, I'd be shocked. Absolutely you're gonna sue. You're gonna sue every amount you got. You're gonna drag every dollar you can.
Against Adair Grain and various product suppliers, seeking compensation for the damage, loss of life, and the injuries incurred. Plaintiffs argued that the proximity of the ammonia nitrate stockpile was too close to residential areas and posed a significant risk. They also accused the whole place of just being run recklessly. While the city secured a settlement, other lawsuits were resolved in private settlements.
That's how most people prefer to have this shit done. They do it privately, so no one knows how much they lost. I always find it weird though. I guess unless you're trying to get compensation, I guess if you're just trying to get money from the people, then yeah, I guess any settlement will do. But sometimes I'm just like, why'd you just bring it to court? Why not make it go all the way to that process?
In the following years, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco and Firearms and Explosives concluded that the fire was actually a criminal act, an act of arson. They offered a reward of up to $50,000. However, this conclusion that was reached by the ATF, that the fire was arson, had faced considerable doubt. Although the disaster prompted calls for regulatory reforms to prevent similar incidents, so far there has been little progress in enhancing oversight or safety measures for these huge storage facilities. To remember the 15 people that were lost too soon, a memorial now stands near the site of the former facility. Here stands 15 separate plaques with photos and names of the people who lost their lives in this deadly blast. This memorial serves as a poignant reminder of the tragedy, ensuring that the events of that terrifying day are never forgotten. This story begins in the seemingly tranquil setting of the Spanish Lakes Fairways retirement community, located in Fort Pierce, Florida. This picturesque community, known for its lush landscapes and peaceful living, offers its residents a serene retirement experience. Fort Pierce itself is nestled on Florida's east coast, boasting beautiful beaches, a rich cultural heritage, and most importantly, a nice, close-knit community feel. In this idyllic setting, residents of Spanish Lakes Fairways enjoy a variety of amenities designed to enhance their golden years, including communal areas for socializing and leisure activities. However, one of the community's rules to ensure the safety and well-being of its residents, the community park discourages people walking their animals on the streets, directing them instead towards more scenic routes, such as the various lakes that are situated behind a lot of the community's homes. It was against this backdrop, on a day...
Why would you have them walk the dogs near water? In Florida. That just sounds... That doesn't seem smart. What's so scary about the roads that you don't want them to get? I know they could be hit, but like, some get along in a fucking water too. Like,
just like any other, with the Florida sun casting a warm glow over the community, that 85-year-old Gloria Surge decided to take her dog, Trooper, for a walk by one of these lakes, located just behind her house. Thinking not much of it, she put the lead on her little dog and stepped out to enjoy the sunshine. This innocent walk with her dog would be their last. All captured in the
okay, that wasn't needed. I didn't need the durr noise. I didn't need that.
unsettling CCTV footage that later went viral. You can see Gloria walking innocently by the water. However, what she didn't see was an alligator waiting in the still lake. This alligator was known to some residents as Henry. He is large and he can be seen lurking and preying on Gloria and her dog. In the chilling video, it shows the predator silently stalking them for over 100 feet, completely blending into its watery surroundings. Now this is when all of a sudden, the gator came rushing out of the water, not initially at Gloria, but with its sights set on her dog. As any dog owner would do, in a desperate attempt to save her companion, Gloria pulled on Trooper's lead and got him out of the jaws of the beast. However, this act of bravery turned the alligator's attention towards Gloria, deeming her a much greater meal. With terrifying force,
This is what I'm saying. Why is it even allowed? Like, you know what I mean? Like, why is this even a thing? I don't get it. Why are we dealing with this? Why are we having people walking in waters where there's alligators and crocodiles and all that shit in Florida? It's fucking Florida. An alligator being there probably is common. They know it. They named it Henry. What the fuck?
the alligator snatched the 85-year-old, dragging her by her ankle into the murky depths of the lake. Neighbors who heard screaming rushed out of their homes to witness the end of the horror unfolding. Their frantic 911 calls echoed the urgency and fear of the moment.
Oh my God! The alligator's got her!
Multiple people attempted to intervene, yet the alligator remained unfazed, holding Gloria under the water until the authorities arrived. Amazingly, Gloria's dog survived this ordeal. But sadly, however, Gloria just wasn't so lucky. Unfortunately, nothing could be done to save her life, and she was pronounced dead on the scene. Henry the gator was soon caught and hauled off into a truck, where he was later euthanized and Gloria's remains retrieved. This caused a local outcry.
Interesting. Okay, so it was euthanized. At the end of the day, this is the issue thing, is people have an issue with the alligator. The alligator was doing what it's supposed to do. An alligator is a predator. It attacks. And that's what it did. Alligator did what it's supposed to do. It's not our fault that it's just unfortunate no one was paying attention. You should have just gotten an alligator out of the water, not do what it did. Not just name it and treat it like it's part of the fucking community.
While the residents knew about the gator population, and even some were given names like Henry, many wondered why Gloria was forced to walk near the water, and wondered why there were no signs at all to warn people who were not aware. If you don't know, Florida has a large alligator population over its 67 counties. They actually have 1.3 million alligators in just Florida alone. They're literally everywhere. And most people living in Florida should be aware that any body of water may contain a gator.
Yes.
They can be found in practically all freshwater bodies, and occasionally even in saltwater. So, considering the sheer amount of these predators lurking in the depths, you'd think that alligator attacks would be very frequent, right? Well, in reality, they're just not. The number of cases of people being attacked by alligators in the state of Florida is very small. However, in this case, surely having the gators so close to your home should surely be a no-no. But that's just me. After the incident, Gloria's family filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the owner of the retirement community. According to the complaint, the lawsuit holds the corporation responsible for the deadly alligator attack.
Look, I bet I don't know if she wins, but I don't know if this is one that this is one they might be able to fight, because you should know better. As they say, you don't live in Florida and not know that there's some shit that can go wrong.
Their lawyer said the presence of large alligators in the lakes of the property was well known to the property manager, and this gator was no exception. He said, in fact, evidence obtained by our firm will show that maintenance workers in the community routinely fed this alligator chicken scraps and even named the dangerous reptile Henry. In response, the building corporation president, Joel Wynn, said in a statement, "We certainly understand the tragedy and the feelings of Mrs. Sturgis' family. However, we developed the Spanish Lakes Fairways over 37 years ago. There's approximately 3,000 residents, and this is the first time where a resident has been attacked by an alligator. Gloria was a long-time resident and certainly knew of the presence of alligators and that they were inherently dangerous animals. So they pretty much just pointed the finger at her. While this lawsuit is still ongoing, the shock of Gloria's passing still continues to affect the residents of the retirement community. While there are still no signs to indicate alligator presence, most locals now try to keep their distance from the lakes, fearing a similar tragic fate themselves. On the 1st of January 2024, a chilling scene unfolded in South Korea's Gangwon province, specifically within the Pyongyang region.
Okay.
That cold, icy night, as some were still shaking off the remnants of the New Year's celebrations, the local residents hunkered down, bracing themselves against another bout of fierce winds and piercing cold. Yet, unbeknownst to them, the weather and the hangovers would soon become the least of their worries.
Oh?
As darkness enveloped the area once more, an eerie change was on the horizon. At around 8:30 p.m. on that New Year's Day, the people of Gangwon province witnessed an unsettling sight. They saw a dense, heavy fog begin to drift through the streets. The fog began to race down a few roads.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest, that looks like a horror movie. That looks like something you'd see in a horror movie. To be standing, that's like the mist. That's how the mist starts. Just stuff slowly going down the street and just covering the area. That looks... If I was on the street, that would terrify me.
Roads, and soon it completely engulfed the area. It spread across the roads and blanketed a small part of the town. All captured on video, this phenomenon resembled a scene from a horror movie, straight out of Silent Hill, with the fog creeping along the ground, infiltrating every available space. Drivers that were attempting to navigate through the fog soon found that their vehicles were malfunctioning. The engines began to sputter and they stalled. It was almost like they were being choked by the mysterious fog. In the videos of the incident, you can see the fog. It looks insane. It really does look wild.
It looks like from a horror movie. That's what it looks like.
As nearby residents ventured into the fog, they were met with a thick, pungent odor. It was soon to be revealed that this was not a mere fog, but rather liquefied petroleum gas
What?
that had leaked from a nearby petrol station, a fuel that is commonly used in South Korea due to its cheap price.
That's insane, though. Like, I swear, there was no scenario where I don't see that and feel like I'm about to be hit by some fucking creatures in, like, the Mist movie.
Because liquid petroleum gas has a composition of butane and propane, the gas is actually heavier than air, causing it to lay low on the ground, as vividly depicted in the footage. By 8:40 p.m, the area surrounding the petrol station was completely engulfed in the fog, in the gas. The situation reached a fever pitch at approximately 8:51, when the gas suddenly ignited, setting off a cascade, a deadly domino effect. Dashcam cameras captured the horrifying moment as the gas suddenly combusted, sending flames tearing through the area.
Okay. Again, that looks awesome. But that is terrifying. That is like death out of nowhere. You are going to just, you get explode out of nowhere. But that is awesome visually looking.
Igniting up near my buildings and
Look at
vehicles, while screams of panic filled the air. But as quickly as the fog had appeared, it had dissipated, leaving behind a scene of devastation. Firefighters from Gangwon province swiftly responded and battled the blaze, successfully extinguishing them within 3 hours. Luckily, no one was fatally injured in this incident. However, the fire damaged 14 buildings and forced the evacuation of at least 25 people. According to reports from the Gangwon province fire headquarters, 2 individuals suffered severe burns, and they said that the cause of the gas leak remains undetermined. But what insane footage. I don't think I've ever seen any footage quite like this.
No, it looked fucking insane. I know already one thing. Sorry about me being on my phone. I am dealing with relationship issues at this moment. I'm trying to deal with it, but it's a problem.
This traumatic footage was recorded on October the 28th, 2023, in the United Kingdom, in the heart of Sheffield, very close to where I live actually, under the gleaming lights of the Utilita Arena. The Utilita Arena opened in 1991 and has averaged 122 shows a year, with over 650,000 customers passing through each and every year. However, on that October night, a truly shocking event unfolded that would forever mark the memory of those in attendance. It was Saturday the 28th of October, a day that was eagerly anticipated by fans of ice hockey. This was because the Sheffield Steelers were set to clash with the Nottingham Panthers in a game that promised excitement and fierce competition. Amongst the players were Adam Johnson. Adam stood out not just for his athletic prowess, but for his journey from the American ice rinks to the UK's elite ice hockey league. Having graced the NHL with his talent in 13 games for the Pittsburgh Penguins, Adam's presence on the ice was a testament to his dedication and love for the sport. As the game commenced, the arena, packed with around 8,000 people, buzzed with anticipation.
What the hell is the Skinny Food Corporation? What the hell do they sell?
The first half of the game passed with the usual intensity and sportsmanship expected for such a high caliber match. However, as the clock ticked towards the 34th minute,
I'm gonna be honest, this is just, I never know the UK had a hockey league. I'm not saying to be, I just didn't know. That's insane. I didn't even know that. No one even brings up the UK hockey league.
Eerie silence was about to descend upon the arena. Adam, in the midst of a play, found himself in an unforeseen and just truly horrifying situation. Another player on the opposing team came into contact with him in a manner that would have grave consequences. In a split second that seemed to stretch into an eternity for the onlookers, Matt Petgrave's skate flew up and struck Adam's neck, causing a grievous injury on the ice. Now, this is me just trying to explain the footage, but what essentially looks like happens is Adam's skating along and Matt just sort of leaps up in the air and his skate suddenly reaches Adam's neck. Within just a second, the damage was done. The arena, once filled with the roars of the excited crowd, fell into a stunned silence. This silence was only broken by the sound of Adam's skates as he struggled to get to the safety of his team's bench. Adam had had his jugular veins severed by the ice skate, a group of major blood vessels that stretch from your head to your upper chest. Bleeding profusely, Adam collapsed onto the ice. A stark contrast to the white surface was now stained with his red blood. Immediately, his teammates and opponents alike rushed to his aid, forming a protective circle around him while the arena's paramedics hurried to provide emergency care. As protective sheets were drawn up around this impromptu circle, the players with heavy hearts retreated to the locker room, and the spectators were told to leave. Adam was rushed to Northern General Hospital, but despite the doctor's best efforts, he succumbed to his injuries that evening. The announcement of his passing was delayed and
that sucks. That one sucks. To be taken out that way. Oh man, that's fucking awful.
Till the following morning, a truly somber moment for his family, friends, and the wider hockey community. The outcry from fans and players alike called for more protective measures. They called for mandatory neck guards. Many pleaded that if Adam had been wearing a neck guard, it may well have saved his life. As the community grappled with the loss, the circumstances of this incident came under scrutiny. Video replays, along with eyewitness accounts, painted a complex picture of the collision between Adam and Matt. Some speculated about the intention behind Matt's actions.
Guys, I don't think. I don't know these people. But I'm pretty confident. Okay? I'm pretty confident that this guy's intention was not to super kick him in the throat with his skate. I'm pretty certain that was not his intention. Now look, I could be wrong. He might have decided as he was skating down that he was going to take the guy out. But I doubt it. I highly doubt it.
Given that he had a reputation for aggressive play and a history of disciplinary issues, including a permanent suspension from the ECHL.
Sarnak inside on Trujillo.
What a
He
shot!
got wiped out by Petgrave as he cut to the net.
You saw it coming like a freight train. I think Petgrave's a little hurt on the play. Favoring his right leg.
Serbench.
Let's take a look at Matt Petgrave's hit. And it's a Wumdinger. You can kind of see it.
Boom!
As the police began to investigate the incident by viewing the video and viewing the live streams, on the 14th of November, Matt Petgrave was arrested on suspicion of manslaughter.
I'm gonna be honest, that's insane. That's insane. This had to have been a backlash thing. There's no way you actually could look at this and think this guy did this on purpose. There's no way.
As this is a fairly new case, Matt was later released on bail pending further investigation. So right now, the result of the arrest can only be speculated upon. The aftermath of Adam's tragic death saw a profound shift in the ice hockey world. In response to this tragedy, all across the UK, amateur teams received first aid kits. A prevention of future death report was issued by the coroner, highlighting the urgent need for neck guards in ice hockey. The English Ice Hockey Association heeded the coroner's warning and mandated neck guards for all players in international competitions starting in 2024. A safety measure that, while implemented too late for Adam, promised a safer future for the sport that he loved. In the following days, as the Sheffield Arena returned to hosting games, the shadow of that night continues to linger. Adam Johnson's legacy, marked by his talent, dedication, and the end to his promising career, serves as a stark reminder of the risks athletes face and the paramount importance of safety in the pursuit of sport. This frankly ridiculous footage finds its origins within the heart of Africa, within the diverse landscapes of Kenya. While the clip dates back to January 2021, unfortunately I was unable to find the precise location or even the time that it occurred. However, the content captured in this particular video is just startling in nature. The scene opens up with a group of individuals gathered by the edge of a lake, notorious as it appears for being a dwelling place for a considerable number of crocodiles. As the camera pans, it captures the moment a medium to large sized crocodile slowly emerging from the watery depths. With deliberate, measured movements, it makes its way onto the land. The crocodile, with its distinctive, hunched, scaly back, navigates the dry mud terrain, moving with a predator's grace. In the background, you can hear people laughing and shouting as the crowd gathered to watch.
Okay, I'm gonna make I think this might be a hot take. Okay, I'm gonna make a hot take here. But if you start fucking around a crocodile and you're aware there's a crocodile and you start fucking around with a crocodile and you get attacked, I think you have it coming. I think you deserve it. Because at this point, you're just so stupid. Your ass needs to get your head checked. And that was the only way you were going to get your head checked. There's no logical way this is a smart move. Unless you have to be so stupid, your brain can't think straight. Because any human being with any sort of common sense that is not in a negative IQ would know not to go near a fucking crocodile. Especially if you're grown fucking adults. So I think if these people went around a crocodile and found out, I think they deserve it.
The crocodiles by the water. But the tension soon escalates when one audacious individual dares to approach it from behind.
Okay, no, they deserve this. I'm sorry, they deserve this. You ain't gonna convince me otherwise. You do this stupid shit, you deserve this. You absolutely deserve this.
The person teases the crocodile, tempting fate by engaging with its predatory instincts. As the footage continues, it reveals that 3 more individuals joined the first. They weren't content with watching the crocodile at a safe distance, and they wanted to take a photo and engage with the animal.
I'm sorry, that you cannot convince me they don't deserve this. This is, any human with common sense should know not to do this.
A truly ridiculous idea.
Agreed.
The group of people positioned themselves behind the crocodile, holding onto it as if it was a prop, as if it wasn't a wild animal. They struck poses for photographs, and the scene is just frankly surreal. A blend of bravado and recklessness, and then the moment of reckoning arrives. Is it Murphy's Law, where they say if something can go wrong, it will? Another spectator, perhaps caught up in the moment's adrenaline, decides that she's going to step in and have fun with the crocodile. But this time, she stands in front, significantly underestimating the danger. In an instantaneous reaction,
You deserve that. I'm sorry, you deserved it. Just don't do this. You know better. You fucking know better. All of you should know better. This is stupidity at its finest, ladies and gentlemen.
the predator's instincts take over, and with insane speed, the crocodile struck. The attack was swift, leaving no opportunity for the woman to evade. The camera, in a sudden shift, diverts the focus to the ground, leaving the viewers with the harrowing sounds of agony. While unfortunately I wasn't able to tell the outcome of this story, whether the woman lived or died, I wasn't able to find out. This footage, while shocking, serves as a somber reminder of the unpredictable nature of wildlife, especially creatures as formidable as crocodiles. In the unassuming routine of daily life, where cycling through the streets offers a moment of solitude and reflection, you never expect that it's going to be your last bike ride, and you never expect this to happen. This horrifying incident occurred in the streets of Huntingdon, Cambridgeshire, in the United Kingdom, on a dreary afternoon of October the 20th, 2020. That day was a normal day, just like any other, marked by intermittent rain and a blanket of overcast skies. So just typical UK weather then. However, the weather set a somber tone that would unwittingly foreshadow the events to come. On that cold, rainy day, a 49-year-old woman by the name Oriel Gray was walking down the street, minding her own business, as seen in the CCTV footage. Seconds later, Oriel noticed a cyclist coming down the road ahead, biking on the pavement. This was 77-year-old Celia Ward, a retired midwife. As she was approaching Oriel, completely unprovoked, in a sudden outburst, Oriel shouted at Celia, telling her to get off the pavement. In a moment of pure terror, Oriel then reaches out and pushes the cyclist, Celia, into oncoming traffic. The vehicle that was passing was caught by surprise and had no opportunity to swerve or stop, resulting in Celia's immediate death on the scene.
Okay, if that woman is not arrested for murder, I'm going to lose my mind. That's insane. That might not have been planned, but that's insane to even just do that. Like, that's fucked up.
Truly horrible twist. Oriole was not fazed by this encounter. She left before even the ambulance arrived and actually went food shopping. She went to Lidl and Aldi and had a good time, pretending like nothing was happening. The police were forced to track her down, and then, when questioned by the police, Oriole was evasive and said that she may have shouted, but of course she didn't push the cyclist, she would never do that, trying to lie to the police and say that it wasn't her fault. But little did she know that her terrible act of malice was all captured on camera.
Thank God it was. Thank God, because this woman's so fucked up. This woman's so messed up.
Your arm's still out, and it looks like your mouth is moving. What were you saying?
I think to slow down, just slow down.
Slow down.
Yeah.
There is actually sound with this CCTV. I'll stop it there because that's the key bit. We don't need to keep watching the bit where the lady gets hit by the car.
Right.
Did you hear what was said there by yourself?
Not quite, no. I couldn't really hear it.
Speak. What you said was get off pavement. What did you mean by that?
Look, I usually, I don't usually say stupid things when someone asks a question. Like, in these videos, you just let it... But what the fuck do you mean? What did she mean? She said get off the fucking pavement. I'm pretty sure that means get off the fucking pavement. I think that's pretty decisive. I don't think there's much debate here. Well?
I can't remember.
You can't remember? I'm sorry, but listen, we can't do anything. She can't remember. Guys, she can't remember. Case closed. Wrap this something bitch up she could have done. She doesn't remember.
You said.
I don't know.
Soon after being questioned, Oriole was arrested and charged with manslaughter. During her police interview, she presented a narrative filled with inconsistencies, claiming that she had impairments such as partial sightness and cerebral palsy, coupled with the anxiety of potentially being struck by the bike. But
I'm gonna be honest. I've been hit by bikes. Unless I've just been lucky. I've never had a bike hit me that does serious damage. Usually if a bike hits me, the person who gets the worst damage is the person on the bike, not me. But I might just be the lucky guy. I don't think I've ever had to worry about that.
But upon being presented with the CCTV, she completely changed her story and suggested that any physical contact might have been an instinctual act of self-defense. When Oriole appeared at Peterborough Crown Court on March 2nd, 2023, she showed a complete lack of remorse until she was faced with the gravity of her sentencing. Judge Enright characterized Oriole as someone who displayed a possessive attitude towards the pavement and a deep-seated resentment towards the cyclist's presence. Despite her initial offer to help at the scene, Oriole's decision to leave before even the ambulance arrived, along with her evasiveness and dishonesty, painted a damning picture.
Yeah, I don't know if you're gonna be able to convince anyone that she did not have any ill intent when she did that.
The emotional toll of the incident was truly palpable. In the victim impact statements, particularly from Celia's husband of 53 years, David, he said he lamented the daily pain of her absence and missed her profusely. The driver, who was dragged into this tragedy by accident, expressed a persistent guilt and a life irrevocably altered by that fateful day. To make things even worse, it was revealed that there was a sign further up the road that indicates that cycling is allowed on the path. In Oriole's defense, her legal team attempted to attribute her actions to her disabilities, a strategy that was actually dismissed by the judge following an
Yeah, because cerebral palsy and half eyesight doesn't mean you push someone onto the road. That doesn't justify you someone who has cerebral palsy isn't just pushing cyclist. That's the word, not bicyclist. Cyclist. They're not pushing cyclists just onto the road. Someone with cerebral palsy or some bad eyesight. I have bad eyesight. Why do you think I got these on? I ain't pushing people onto the road because I can't somewhat see most of the time. If I don't have these on, I can't see well. I ain't pushing people onto the road. I'm not doing that. Doesn't excuse it.
Expert testimony. He said that these disabilities would not have affected your ability to tell if something was right or wrong, and you committed a horrible act that day. The jury's unanimous verdict found Oriel guilty of manslaughter. However, considering her clean criminal record, along with her disabilities and the fact that she would have struggled in prison, she was only sentenced to 3 years. Not enough time for a life taken too soon.
No. Also, I think the fact of it's her first time being in jail does not mean a thing to me. That should not mean a thing. If you commit and you push someone onto the road and cause them to die, I think about, well, she wasn't arrested before this. Does not mean a damn thing. That should not justify it at all. That should not be a way to, like, get a life sentence. That's insane.
Now this truly shocking footage unfolded on a seemingly ordinary Monday, March the 15th, 2021, within Pembroke Pines, Florida. The day was
Back to Florida, baby!
characterized by clear skies and a nice gentle breeze.
I plan to visit Florida soon. I do. I haven't figured out where yet in Florida. I have to decide that, but I want to visit Florida soon. That's going to be one of my places I visit. I promise.
A typical setting for the start of the week. It was just a typical Monday. That afternoon, a single mother, along with her 4-year-old son, were navigating their SUV through the streets of Pembroke Pines, specifically along Southwest 72 Avenue and 12th Street. This route lies in close proximity to North Perry Airport. It was a familiar stretch to them, and while they were driving along, they were probably planning for the weekend, their thoughts far removed from the potential dangers lurking nearby. North Perry Airport is known for servicing private and charter flights. It's nestled uncomfortably close to residential areas, and for the locals, the sight of planes making low passes overhead is a common occurrence and one that carries an underlying fear of a possible plane crash. At approximately 2:30 p.m, a Beechcraft Bonanza single-engined aircraft had departed from North Perry Airport. When they started the engine, it emitted a rough idle that could be heard from nearby, and this is how it was reported. However, the two people in the plane ignored this rough idle, and soon they ascended into the sky. However, it wasn't long before the plane encountered significant engine trouble, prompting a desperate attempt to return to the airport. Now, just doing a little bit of research on this, aviation experts actually caution new pilots against attempting to turn back towards the airport after takeoff, advising instead to maintain a controlled glide and select the best possible site for an emergency landing. Tragically, however, the pilots in this case chose to ignore this advice, finding themselves simultaneously deprived of.
I think people in this case just feel like if they get to the airport, that's the safest place. Like, in their head, that's the safest place meant for planes to be there. It doesn't work that way because the odds of you getting back there is usually very, very slim.
Airspeed, altitude, and luck as they approached the airport for an emergency landing. The ensuing disaster was all captured by a Ring doorbell camera. The footage documents the aircraft's heartbreaking attempt to reach the safety of the runway, only to fall short by several hundred feet. The plane clipped low-running power lines before tragically colliding with the SUV. This SUV was carrying and her 4-year-old son.
Holy shit, that would be the scariest day of my life. I don't care if I even live. If I live, that I don't think I'm ever leaving my place again. I think that would keep me inside for the rest of my life. If I'm driving and suddenly a fucking airplane just He collides. If I live, I'm never going out ever again.
The impact was described by locals as resembling a bomb explosion. As the plane tumbled into the ground, it erupted into a fireball. This fireball then set ablaze the fuel that had leaked onto the road, turning the scene into a catastrophic inferno. Witnesses from nearby homes were greeted by the ghastly sight of plane debris strewn across their community and the aircraft's fuselage engulfed in flames. Emergency services rushed to the scene, where it was confirmed that the 2 individuals aboard the plane had died on impact. Megan and her 4-year-old son were quickly transported to the hospital, and while Megan eventually recovered physically from her injuries, her son tragically did not survive. He passed away that day, raising the death toll to 3. This just honestly tragic event left the Pembroke Pines community in utter shock. The accident reinforced their fears of the rare yet devastating potential of plane crashes. The sorrow and the loss experienced that day serves as a poignant reminder of the true fragility of life and the unforeseen circumstances that can arise, even on the most ordinary of Mondays. On February the 22nd, 2023, a harrowing event unfolded in the Al-Aqsa League, located in the remote and sparsely populated area of Inner Mongolia, within China's northeastern province of Heilongjiang. This region, whose economy is heavily reliant on mining and extractive industries, became the site of a devastating mining accident that captured national and international attention due to its severity and the tragic loss of life involved. Despite China's status as a leading coal producer in the world, with Inner Mongolia ranking as the 2nd largest coal producing area, its mines are notorious for being some of the deadliest in the world. This reputation stems from a combination of lax safety standards and the industry's struggle to comply with the government's repeated calls for safety measures. Official data from China's National Mining Safety Administration indicated that the number of accidents in coal mines nearly doubled in 2022 compared to the previous year, with the death toll hitting a peak of 245 in 1 year. Amid these concerning trends, the Al-Aqsa left Banner Mine, a significant open pit coal mining operation that had transitioned from an underground mine in 2012, became the epicenter for a tragic incident. On February the 22nd, 2023, at approximately 1:16 p.m, as hundreds worked away in the open pit mine, slogging away completely out of the blue, one of the giant slopes catastrophically collapsed. All captured in the CCTV footage, it looks ridiculously insane.
Oh my god.
More than 50 workers were buried.
Well, yeah, there's gonna be some death with that. That's insane. So these people are just minding their business, working, and then collision. A fucking landslide happens, and they're all just dead. Like, that's insane.
Under a massive debris field, stretching half a kilometre wide and approximately 80 metres high. The people that were buried, there was no chance for them to survive. Rescue, of course, rushed to the scene, but they were only able to rescue 6 people. But dozens more were unaccounted for. They were presumed missing or dead. The situation's gravity prompted Chinese President Xi Jinping to demand an exhaustive search and rescue operation. Despite deploying over 300 rescue workers, equipping them with heavy machinery and rescue dogs, the efforts were plagued by challenges, including a second landslide that further buried the people trapped. The recovery mission was complex, to say the least. They had to use innovative strategies such as layered excavation and other descending methods to navigate the ongoing threat of additional collapses. Family of the missing waited anxiously for an answer, but months went by, and then the death toll was announced. In the announcement, officials confirmed that all the missing miners had perished, bringing the total death toll to 53. This incident cast a harsh light on the safety measures set by the Inner Mongolia Xinjiang Coal Industry Limited. This company faced penalties for a range of safety violations. This tragedy not only highlighted the persistent risks associated with China's mining industry, but also led to a nationwide push for more stringent safety measures. On the afternoon of July the 24th, 2013, 218 passengers, along with 4 crew, boarded a superfast train, completely unaware that they were about to experience a catastrophic nightmare. A nightmare that would haunt the survivors for the rest of their lives. This incident begins in Spain. Now, Spain's high-speed railways have been in operation since 1992. They boast one of the world's most extensive networks spanning across the entire country. These tracks, distinctive from conventional ones, are managed by a company called ADIV. Now, the train that the people boarded that day was a Renfe Class 730. This train was designed for versatility, capable of navigating both the high-speed tracks and the conventional tracks, thanks to its dual electric and diesel power. This feature allows it to reach staggering speeds of up to 160 miles an hour on electric mode and even 120 miles an hour on diesel, making the Class 730 a popular choice among passengers for its efficiency and speed. However, on that fateful day, the 218 passengers and 4 crew were on an express route from Madrid to Ferrol. This journey typically lasted around 5 hours, and that day it proceeded without incident until it approached its final stretch. As the train neared Santiago de Compostela at around 8:40 p.m, the train came up to a challenging part of the track, known for a sharp left curve immediately after a series of tunnels and bridges. This curve actually required manual intervention in order to slow the train by the driver. However, if this was forgotten for any reason, a very advanced signalling system called the ERTMS was implemented on the tracks to automatically regulate speed, to slow down the train, and stop calamity. As the train neared its last stretch of the journey, it went through a series of tunnels, but it was during the last tunnel that the driver, Francisco Garzon, received a call from the railway company Renfe. They had called to discuss the final route of the journey, but this call came at the worst possible moment. As the train was travelling through the tunnel, it was travelling far too fast. Distracted by the phone call, he missed not 1, not 2, but 3 verbal messages to decelerate, and before he knew it, the train was emerging from the tunnel at 120 miles an hour. The speed for this track was supposed to be 50 miles an hour, so it was more than double the safe speed. While the driver slammed on the brakes, it wasn't enough, and the train was unable to make the sharp bend. All captured by trackside cameras, the disaster was immediate.
Boy, that's a fast moving train. That train's going. Oh, Jesus. Oh, my God.
As the train derailed, all 14 carriages were thrown off the tracks, some overturned and ignited. The safety system that should have slowed down the train failed to kick in, causing absolute destruction.
This all went wrong. The stupid people called him. Also, don't be calling the train. I feel like you just shouldn't be calling the train operator while they're riding the train. That just feels dumb in my opinion. Maybe that's just a me thought, but I just don't think you should be doing that.
The local community felt the reverberations through the floor and rushed to the scene, but they were met with a scene of just pure horror. Emergency services, including 320 police, firefighters, and medics, faced the grim task of rescuing survivors from the wreckage. Every single carriage had come off the rails, and most of them had slammed into a concrete barrier lining the curve. This led to exceptional mortality and injury. When the train derailed, the consequences for the passengers were severe. Due to the sudden deceleration, individuals were thrown forward with force, and as the train took the sharp left turn and derailed, the inertial forces threw the passengers to the right side of the carriage, and inside the overturning cars, people were tossed around violently, leading to chaos. The impact compressed the interior space of the damaged cars, trapping many in confined, crushed spaces, surrounded by the dead. As I said, some of the cars actually caught fire, resulting to severe burn injuries to those inside. Many people suffered lacerations from shredded or torn metal parts caused by the wreckage, and these combined factors contributed to the tragic loss of life. This horrific accident resulted in the deaths of 79 people and caused injuries to everyone on board. This was Spain's worst rail disaster in over 4 decades. Despite the fact that the company, Renfe, was actually on the phone to the driver at the time, and the fact the ERTMS Guardian Angel safety system did not kick in, just 4 days after the accident, on July the 28th, 2013, the train's driver, Francisco, was detained, and here he admitted a momentary lapse of judgment and concentration. He was charged with 79 counts of homicide by professional recklessness and an undetermined number of counts of causing injury by professional recklessness. A thorough investigation ensued. The train's black box showed that while the driver of the train did try to apply the brakes, it was far too late. The train was travelling at 111 miles an hour when it derailed, far exceeding the speed limit on this point in the track. Investigators then looked into why the safety system did not kick in to slow the train down and prevent this tragedy. Their investigations revealed that the Guardian Angel ERTMS system, which should have prevented the crash, was actually disabled at the curve. ADIF, the company which was supposed to maintain the track, found that it was causing trains to randomly come to a halt, causing trains to be delayed, and in turn, losing money. In response, ADIF had granted permission to switch the system off. This left this stretch of track only under the protection of the older signalling system, which only warns the drivers if they're exceeding speed limits, but it won't actually slow down or stop a speeding train. Now it seems like a lot of people are to blame here, but despite the fact that the railway company ADIF had removed the safety net, they, along with the railway company Renfe, who were on the phone to him at the time, placed 100% blame on the driver. While this incident occurred over 11 years ago.
That's insane. So they're just sitting there being like, no, it's not us. No, we shouldn't think of it. He should have known better. It's his fault. So they're just placing blame on the driver, completely trying to wipe their hands of any accountability here. That's insane.
Court proceedings continue to this very day. The decision to disable the ERTMS system and the subsequent reliance on an outdated system has led to a lengthy legal battle. As the legal battle went on, the driver, along with ADIF's former security director, faced charges of professional recklessness causing death. In October of 2022, the victims' families requested nearly 58 million euros in damages. The driver, along with the former director of security, continued to stand trial, accused of homicide resulting from serious professional negligence, each of them facing 4 years in prison if convicted. And also, whoever's convicted also is responsible in paying that 58 million euros. The driver's lawyer, Manuel Prieto, said that missing signposts along the stretch of railway line where the accident occurred and other inadequate safety measures had triggered the derailment, and not the client's phone call.
I think it's a mixture of both. You shouldn't be on the phone in this type of environment when you're on a train. I'm going to stick that personally. You shouldn't. They should have a system that works because money is not the main thing of everything. When it comes to safety, there should have been signs to warn them instead of a little visual message. If he's on the phone, he's not paying attention. There's many that could have gone wrong here, but he also is responsible for being on the phone.
To this very day, the driver and ADIF continue to point the finger at each other in court. However, whatever the outcome, it will never bring back the lives of the 79 people that were lost and rebuild the families shattered. It will not heal or mend the scars left behind, and for the people of Spain, this horrifying tragedy will continue to reverberate for years to come. In the meantime, the ERTMS system that was missing on the curve was installed. After this, the government announced that they would conduct a nationwide review across all railways across Spain, confirming the signalling and the route knowledge of train drivers. But that is the end of this mega video. Wowza.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is it for this reaction video. Let me know what you think in the comments. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all for the next one.